a chap that was on the show not so long ago, actually, is Peter Reid. He was a poet, and he came down to the Cellar Bar in Cardigan. He's a really nice chap. And I was just thinking earlier when we asked Neil Donald Walsh, somebody had asked, how do you put God first in your life? There was a time in Peter Reid's life where he didn't put him first or last. He just completely got rid of him, and he lost his faith. He's the only, I think I say in the interview actually, that he's the only second person I know who's ever done that. And so he answered that question.
When I just moved to Swansea, and it was the first pub I ever went into. And I didn't realise it was quite a rough, dangerous pub. But the strange thing was that 3 different people bought me a pint, and I thought, well, this is very, very friendly. And as I was on the 3rd pint, someone came up and slapped me on the back and said, when did they let you out? And I was slightly taken aback by that, and I discovered that I was a dead ringer for a well-known drugs dealer. So I thought, it's time I made an exit here. And just as I was doing that, a fellow walked in with a pink vest on and white shorts. He was a huge bloke, and he had tattoos all over him. And I think I've got this invisible message on my head that says, if no one else would talk to you, I'm your man. Come and talk to me. And he did. And whenever I asked him a question, he seemed to answer by showing me a tattoo, which was quite amazing. So, shall I read that now?
Yes, please.
Divest. The wind blew him through the swinging door, then swept him up to the bar. He favoured expletives to the lingo of the Queen, yet blessed me with a "how you doing?" His glass, full of images refusing to disappear, he serenaded sawdust days, pre-yuppie nights. He wore a pink vest over white shorts, and soon I knew, like a boy called Sue, that a guy donning pink is hard. Pointed and said my Stella was weak, and, glancing at his rippling fat, politely asked, "So what do you drink, Di?" In one fell swoop, his vest was up to show a chest tattooed with artistic zest for Strong Bull, the best cider in the world. As I drank my stained Artois, I heard of Cwmtwch, stronghold of the oval ball. Bred on streets, he kicked tins, bricks and heads, but never ever slipped to pansy rugby. Football I am, through and through. On asking which team he liked, I saw the vest go up again, and swinging round his back proclaim, "Swansea City are ace." The bar bell rang to bring relief. Thank God, I thought, I never asked about his life of sex.
It's great, isn't it? And you know, sometimes with script writers, when these live things take place, you think you can't make these things up, can you?
I think that so much, and I think that's why I love living down in South Wales and West Wales, because there are so many wonderful characters. And in the pubs, I find people come up to me and talk to me. And I'd only been there a few days when I was in another pub. Sounds like I'm always in pubs. But I was in another pub, and a little fella just came up to me and said, "What's the difference between a collision and an explosion?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And he said, "Well, with a collision, there you are. With an explosion, where are you?" And he walked off, and I thought that was terrific, and it made me realise why I was in Swansea.
Is that it? He just walked up and said that?
He just said that and walked away, and that happens. It happens on the buses going into town. I find it wonderful. People tell you the most intimate details of their life, and they'll tell you about their hemorrhoids or anything. It's magnificent.
Isn't it wonderful? And you wonder what goes through their minds. I'll quickly tell you, I was working on a ship between, I can't remember, Hull and Rotterdam, and it was a really, really stormy night, and you could sense this horrible feeling that people didn't want to be poorly, and one guy was at the bar, much like this guy you've just explained now, with the, tattoos all over him and the vest, and he came over to the piano as straight as a die. I couldn't believe what a straight line he made for the piano, and everybody else was falling all over the place. He landed on top of the piano in the days when smoking was allowed, took his fag out of his mouth, and he said to me, "Do you know Roger Whittaker's Durham Town?" And I didn't, and I was scared to death. And normally I'd try and make, up another song. And I said to him, no, I'm terribly sorry, I don't know that song. And he just looked at me, and I'll have to clean up his answer because it was disgusting. He just looked at me and he said, well, thank God for that. Turned around and walked off. And I just thought, my God, he's made such an effort to walk over. I love people to death.